Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to another recording. Today we are going to be having a discussion on what the state of the IMVU peer review system looks like. And just a quick one for those of you who somehow don't know what IMVU is and are somehow on this channel. IMVU is, I don't want to call it a game, but for easy understanding, it's kind of like a game. You have what's called an avatar that people claim it's meant to represent you, but most people don't go down that light. So you have an avatar, you dress up the avatar however you wish. Obviously, you are spending money, be it money you've earned within the game or money that you have bought the game points for with real life money. You have the avatar, you buy items for your avatar to make it look the way you want it to look. And you go around chatting with other people, engaging in fun activities, fun animations that look cool and can be engaging, all of which are created by IMVU creators. So who are IMVU creators? People who are IMVU creators are IMVU users who have paid, right? They have paid, most of them of late have paid, although there was a point between IMVU's inception in 2004 and 2012, I think May of 2012, where the ability to create was free and open to all. But after 2012, they stopped allowing a free entry into the creating system. Although even then, I heard that you needed to buy your name. So if this sounds odd, there are two kinds of names on IMVU. You have the guest names, which you get by default when you sign up. And then you have also the bot names. So the guest names will have a guest underscore in front of them. And it doesn't really mean anything until, you're around more experienced people and then they are trying to use that to kind of filter you away from their society. And then the bot name is just you spending, I think, in the ballpark of 15 USD. It's just to remove that. And before you go ahead and say, just to remove something, I'm going to spend 15 USD. Well, to create on IMVU, effectively, you need to. In fact, you need to spend now, if you were to decide to create on IMVU now, you need to spend upwards of 100 USD per year. All right, so that said, we have, as creators on IMVU, a peer review system. So let's say a creator makes a shirt for IMVU female avatars. That shirt needs to go through the peer review system before it gets to the final open kind of like boutique, where anybody and anyone who wishes to purchase it can purchase it, provided they find it, because things obviously get lost within the IMVU catalog. It's so big. So how does the peer review system work? So after the creator is done making their item, they're going to click submit. And then once they submit it, they have the options of adding extra details in what's called the product's HTML description. And then they click the final publish button, which sends it automatically to peer review. So peer review is basically like a long queue of every single item being created by IMV creators at a given instant, okay? Now, it doesn't sound scary until you imagine the number of IMV creators there are, and also the number of items they make, all right? And each item needs to go through a review. So IMV has what's called a virtual goods policy, which are statements and rules, regulations, limits, and context to which IMVU products can exist. So there are four technically kinds of ratings that you have for IMVU. We have general audience, which are like your t-shirts, your shoes, your t-shirts that cover everything, they're not showing skin, your shoes, your socks, your pants, basically think Disney attire, right? Then you have access pass only, which is like your lingerie that can expose maybe the areola area. You have thongs, you have full frontal nudity, but now with that, provided there isn't any depiction of arousal, and there isn't any depiction of full-blown intercourse, explicit intercourse, this falls under the access pass only category. And just a side note about access pass is also paid for. Currently that sits at 20 USD, but I don't want this video feeling like a time capsule if eventually in the future things have changed. But currently that sits at 20 USD. Then you have in the works. It hasn't been fully published yet. It's still within this kind of gated community. But you have the Access Pass Plus tier, all right? So that gives you access to, more explicit sexual content, full-blown explicit intercourse, more graphic things in the more adult-themed space. But I don't think that covers for violence, because violence generally is frowned upon. And by violence, I'm not talking about, you have some kind of, downplayed spraying of bullets or something like that. No, that can even pass as GA if you're lucky. But I'm talking about, GTA level kind of violence. Yeah, I don't think in either rating that IMVU supports that in any of their ratings yet. The AP Plus thing, it's possible that it will support it. It's just that there isn't any public information about it yet. The AP Plus creator program is restricted to only a few creators as we speak. It's still is it beta or alpha? I don't know. But it's still in their testing phase. It's not open purchase at this moment. But the fourth one, because I did mention that therefore, is what's called UFI, unfit for IMVU. And these are, so like the extreme violence, we're talking about things that promote self-harm and, anything that doesn't fit within softcore, hardcore intercourse, and adult-themed interactions, and then, of course, the general audience items. So things that come out of the box, things that go too extreme for what they permit on their platform will fall under the UFI. So as you can guess, probably, but probably not, you can guess, peer review works like a queue, that these systems, or rather it works like a queue where each product that's in the queue is checked to see if they are rated accordingly properly. All right, so let's say someone uploaded lingerie to GA, it's going to fail peer review, and then it's going to be, the reviewer is going to select a reason as to why it failed peer review, and then the creator needs to either modify the product or modify the rating, or you upload something as Access Pass only, it's meant to be Access Pass Plus only, then you uploaded something as Access Plus, but it's not fit for IMV. So when it's not fit for IMV, they just remove it. IMV removes it itself, or they tell you to go modify it before it passes peer review. All right, so that's it. And who does the reviewing? Okay, so that's even a big part. This queue is open to anyone, any user over the age of 18. I think that's one of the rules. You need to have spent more than 5 days, and some other, or I think it's even 30 days you need to have spent. Then you get 5 credits per review, 5 promotional credits per review. So basically those credits that when you buy things with them, the creators don't get anything in return. So yeah, that is how peer review works. There's a queue. The queue is being disseminated to every user that is active in the peer review system. All right, so you can get instances where users make mistakes. They can fill your item improperly. Then you have to resubmit it as a creator to the peer review system, or contact support to have them review it directly for you. So why has this turned into an issue to the point that I am making a whole dedicated recording to it? Well, usually before now, peer review wasn't as scary, all right? So in the ballpark, it took max 3 days, right? And when it got to 3 days, it's like, oh wow, this is bad. I remember the very first set of products I made took 3 days, right? And that is someone who hasn't created pure level zero creator kind of thing. My very first set of products, the ones that notoriously are meant to take the longest of time, and those took just about 3 days to complete peer review and pass and all of that. But of late, peer review has been taking upwards of 10 days for people, and it is insane. It is insane. From just a pure analysis standpoint, you can guess that maybe, there are too many products in the queue, there are too few reviewers, primarily because IMVU has switched to more like mobile-friendly spaces. People don't really do peer review anymore, and especially the fact that peer review isn't supported on mobile that much, so you need a laptop currently to do the peer review thing. So I understand that this whole thing might just be a case of the queue being too long and there are very few reviewers, and the incentive of 5 credits per review might not be as tempting as it once was, because back then, for most items, even till now, most items are still within the ballpark of like 500 credits. So just 100 reviews, you could get yourself a new shirt. All right. So that was the kind of draw to it. And then it was capped at 500 reviews. So if you're diligent enough, you do the 500 reviews a day. And I'm talking from experience, by the way. This is a bit of an embarrassing confession, but out of experience, you do the 500 reviews per day so that you make 2,500. Then the next day you do it, and then you have at the end of the week like 10 to 15,000 credits waiting for you, either at the end of the week or like at like 10 days or so. So you do that consistently for 10 days, you have 25,000 credits just waiting for you to spend as you wish. All right, so yes. So it's been taking quite some time. People are complaining 2 weeks, 2 full weeks, 14 days. I have seen personally with my own products upwards of 9 days in the peer review system. And one would ask, are there systems to bypass the peer review, or what are my options as a creator? Now, especially given the fact that IMVU forced people to have the VIP badge in order to be able to create, and then once it expires, you need to renew it, or your shop is gone and all of that. So you need the VIP badge to create. So because the VIP gives people access to the live chat feature, right? Most people just went straight to the live chat to have them review the items directly. And this went on from, at least that I saw, the time that I started creating in 2020 till last year, I think. That's between last year or this year. I'm not sure the exact year that this stopped, but yeah, it stopped recently. So what did it stop and how did it stop? So it stopped when, the new tiers of VIP, not then exactly, but eventually new tiers of VIP were introduced in like 2021, 22, I'm not sure the exact year, but new tiers of VIP were created. And then obviously no one took note of those or even thought to switch to the newer tiers. I'm not saying no one, but a lot of people didn't bother switching to the newer tiers. So yeah, they introduced newer tiers of VIP, but the catch was you could no longer get the highly discounted annual plan. So basically, a year's worth of VIP was used to be, I think, 75 USD, but with the new tiers, the 75 USD tier became effectively $120 per annum. Or it's $9.99 per month, and then you do the math times 12, which rounds out to about 120 USD per annum. So that was a big jump for people that they couldn't get on, so they held on to their what is now referred to as the classic plans, and that went well for most people. Most people just stuck to their classic plans until IMVU said for that, okay, regarding this issue of using the live chat to review your products, they said that, okay, to be able to do this, you need to have one of the newer tiers. And they're not even talking about the $120 per year one. No, they're talking about the $240 per year one. So that's the one where you pay $20 every month for the VIP creating access. And then there's a $40 one per month, so which is the $480 per year tier. So yeah, that is what happened. So a lot of creators, given the fact that, jumping from $75, mind you, not even $120, but $75 a year to $240 a year was such a steep jump. They have annual tiers now. I think the annual one is just a bit less than $200 a year, but still, it's not that big of a discount as the 75 was. So going from effectively $75 a year to somewhere between $200 and $240 a year was too steep a jump. So many creators just felt, okay, they could wing it, or it's not the end of the world. Well, peer review has become a nightmare. Although before I made this recording, I thought to test it out, and then I just had an item spend less than 2 days. So I put out this item on a Saturday, and by the Monday, so this is 48 hours after, the Monday after, it was already published on its own. I didn't do any live chat thing. I couldn't even do the live chat thing because it was a weekend, and then I open out on weekends, which is another point I want to get into, by the way. So a lot of people felt that they could just wait it out. Peer review isn't that deadly anyway. It's just max 3 days. They could plan their releases around that time. Nope. Peer review takes, for a lot of people, from the reports I see, from the things I have experienced, upwards of 15 days even, right? The max I've seen it was like 10 days, 10 active days of you just wondering, did they even get lost in the queue or something? And then, do you know, even after that 10 days, one of the products failed. I had to resend it back to peer review, which is insane. So, yeah, I think a lot of people now, to try and cope, they do the ads for their upcoming products. They'll tell you coming this fall. Not necessarily that, they're just holding the release or, freezing the release pending the arrival of fall. And this is referring to posts made in the Western Hemisphere summer. They're saying coming this fall. The coming this fall is that the peer review is going to take over 2 weeks. So you just might wait till the next season, or coming this winter for people who are making products as we speak. It's insane. And when it takes too long, that new badge, okay, but this is only for people who still use the classic client. That new badge goes because it's already spent too long in the peer review system. So, yeah, that is what has been going on, and it's been just a tragedy that we have to go through this as a community of creators. People speculate that they're doing this intentionally, but I don't think it's intentional. I think, they just set up the systems and there are ways for which the systems are expected to work. But then again, people feel that they can do better, that they could dedicate more staff to the peer review system, that products aren't made that many. Some people are even arguing that as more people are, quote and unquote, leaving the platform, although people don't have the direct statistics for that, products should be fewer, the queues should be lighter and easier to handle and everything. But again, I can't say, I don't know how light the peer review queue is. All I do know is that it's taking a lot longer than it used to. All right. Even back when people were, not so patient with peer review, it took max 1 day or two for the more experienced creators. But now it's taking upwards of 10 days. What's going on? So another issue to this is if you do eventually get the higher tiers or the 200 to 240 tier that lets you do your peer review instantly in the live chat, I'm telling you, and I saw this also said on someone's story and also saw another Instagram post to this effect, the live chat in comparison to what it was before is different for not reasons that are not good. All right, and that's just putting it plainly. Big annoyance. First on the big annoyance list is they now have working hours. Well, they've always had working hours, but they also have working days now. Back then, they used to work, I think, 7 days out of 7. And yes, of course, I am not a champion for exploitation, but then again, shifts are a thing, especially for all these customer-facing kind of companies, which is essentially every company, but then, the kinds where you need, or your users could need urgent customer support and all of that. So, yeah, back then, they used to have work 7 days out of 7 within the hours of, I think, 6 a.m. PT. What is it? I think PT is Pacific time. The company is based in Los Angeles, I think. So 6 a.m. PT until 6 p.m. So they worked 12-hour shifts 7 days out of the week. Now, right, they start by, I think, it's 5 p.m. my time. So that should be like 9 a.m. PT. So they start by the 9 a.m. PT, which is fine. You could just excuse, 3 hours. What's 3 hours, right? But here's the thing. They do the 9 a.m. They still close by the 2 a.m. my time is 6 p.m. They still close by the 6 p.m. And then they have fewer days. So they've cut away that I've seen Sunday and Monday. They work, or I've seen them online on Saturdays. I don't know about Saturdays for sure, but Tuesdays, right? It's so odd because if you're going to cut out any day, at least just cut out Saturday and then add Monday so that people operating under the assumption that, okay, they are open only weekdays during business hours, but oddly, they don't have Mondays. And then I think holidays too, they take off days on holidays. That's US holidays as well. So it's just Tuesdays till that I'm sure of Fridays with a 3-hour cut in the service time. All right, so you could see that despite you paying higher for the service, like literally double the money that you would pay before, literally double the money, you're getting a stricter time frame to access these services, so which, I mean, if you're going to have people pay much more for these things, then I don't think you could compromise in that regard, or it's fair for you to compromise in that regard. But then again, obviously they know best. They know why they've made these shifts. It's just, pointing out observations and all of that. Then, okay, fine. All right, so it's a Tuesday, right? You wait till Tuesday, even though you've released things. You've made things that are just swimming through the whole peer review system over the weekend. You're right. You've patiently waited till 9 a.m. on that Tuesday. All right, so you open the chat on that 9 a.m. on the Tuesday. And I'm telling you, first of all, when you open early, okay, because they're just resuming at their jobs, right? They tend to answer fast enough. But anything from I assume a 12 p.m. their time. No. The delay between you initiating the chat and you getting a response from a human. I have waited 2 hours, right? I have waited 2 hours before I got responses before. Then also, all right, you get the response, and at times, to even do the review, they could say things like, oh, this isn't our department, because I think there are different departments that handle different products to review. So they have to bounce between departments, and then that one ends up taking up to an hour. So you've spent the 2 hours waiting for a response, and then you have the extra hour of you getting your products reviewed. All right? But back then, despite the service being cheaper, despite the service having longer hours, much more days, responses were quicker. Definitely responses were. I can't recall ever waiting 2 solid hours. And then even when you would wait, they would always tell you there's a queue. All right, so they'll tell you, okay, you're number 36 in the queue. This one, there's no indicator of any queue. You're just waiting ambiguously. It could just be, and it poses the question okay, why is it taking so long? What number am I in the queue? All right, I missed the queue thing. I missed you are X number in the queue. I miss it. I won't lie. You're just there waiting, and I wouldn't blame someone who's not too patient, thinking that this was them. The staff are just on a lunch break, and then they're just looking at you, answering the message at their time or something like that. I won't blame impatient people for making such assumptions. So despite the fact that peer review is taking longer, and then people are paying more for the live chat review method, it's comparatively worse than it was, which, I mean, it doesn't seem fair. If you're going to have your users pay extra for, what is effectively a VIP luxury feature, then it should come at the, kind of result. The result therefore should be that it's better. The service is much better. In fact, if you could even do the higher you pay, you could even access a 24-hour service platform even. But then again, as I've said, I am not pro exploitation. But also, as I also said, I believe in, if they can set up shifts and, to deal with the loads, because this isn't a platform that's restricted to users of a certain jurisdiction or nation. It operates, that I know of, globally. And I think if you have an internet connection and the site itself isn't explicitly banned from your territory's IP or your territory's list of sites that are banned within a territory, then it should be accessed by effectively anyone across the globe. And with that whole global scale operation, you have to deal with people from different time zones and all of that. In fact, there are some time zones that I imagine even don't really even get the luxury of really having to interact with live chats without being half asleep or being caught up with some other thing. So yeah, that is it. Just wanted to bring this issue to the forefront. That peer review has been effectively a mess for a while now. And, fair enough, the product I uploaded on Saturday just took max 48 hours to escape peer review, but I would say that is more of a rarity these days, unless things have changed and I haven't just noticed. If things have changed, let me know. But if things are still the same, comment how many days your products have been in peer review, and then we will have this discussion and let's see if anything can be done about it. Maybe all what it comes down to is more of us need to do peer review. I know from time to time I still do peer review despite me having other things to do, things to attend to in real life and everything. I still from time to time do peer review because in my opinion, right, if we want to blame, the lack of users doing peer review, I want to blame that there are more mobile users than there are client and desktop users, right? I think that's where the issue is. So the day that they make this peer review thing accessible to mobile users and they give them like an explicit training and everything so that they're not filling your products foolishly, then I think peer review is going to move fast. Or credits, right? That's promotional credits. I don't think it costs much to give out credits, so they could just give out maybe if it's 5. I know it's 5 still. I think it's still 5. I haven't actually checked the figure. It could be a 10, maybe. I don't know. They'd have to decide. Although the issue with credits floating too much around the IMVU economy is it's going to be a bad thing for creators, because what would take us back then like 10 days to make 25,000 credits is going to take someone 5 days to make that same 25,000 credits. They could buy your entire store and you just get 0, right? So that's the annoying thing with credits being too much in circulation. The Daily Spin, is it credits or credits? I hope it's credits, because I think they should just do away with that credits thing, or find some form of conversion matrix, conversion formula to make everyone's credits into real credits, and let's just operate with one currency, not someone, raving to you in your inbox that, they bought your entire store and you're just wondering, but I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. Whose store did you buy? Was it my own? Yeah, I didn't see anything. Now you're telling me you bought my store. I did not see anything. Sorry. Yeah. So credits it's a discussion for another day as far as I'm concerned. But today's discussion is peer review and the the decline in service offered by live chat in terms of creator assistance in this regard. What do you think? Comment how many days your items have been currently in the peer review. I know some of you are chalking up 2 weeks. Some of you are just like in all those prison cartoons doing the tallies, every 5 days you're crossing it out. So let's know how many days your products have currently spent in peer review. Do you do peer review? Let's also be cautious. Let's help each other out. Let's do peer review as much as we can. Maybe just in a day, you take at least 10 items. You can do it with IMVU Next now on the web, so it doesn't really feel like a pain anymore where you have to, like in Classic, you have to load up new tabs all the time, and you never know. Peer review is where I see a lot of like cool items too. All right, items that naturally would be gatekept, but because I'm forced to look at them and then I appreciate the beauty in them, that's where I get to see some really nice items that I eventually like. And I like that you have the add to wish lists feature, so that eventually when you do pass the item, if it's worthy of being passed, you could just from your wish list go ahead and buy it. All right, so I'll end this here. Thank you for listening. Remember to comment how many days your items are currently spending in peer review, and I will see you in the next one.